The X100VI, or 6, the 6 in the X100 series of cameras, which I've always loved, is here, and it has some new features that are not found in any other X series cameras up to this point. There are a lot of features new to the X100 series, like subject detection. I don't want to talk about those in this video because they're found in other X series cameras. But what I do want to discuss here are what's new to the X series line in the X100VI. Some of them are a little mundane, some are rather exciting. So we're going to cover those quickly here in this video. I am almost done with the X100VI tutorial course, which you can find at photocourses.link/X100VI. Use the code TUBE20 for 20% off that course if you want to learn everything about this camera with video walkthroughs that take you through all the menus, operation, and customization of this camera. So the first new feature, it's the film simulation, it's Reala Ace. Now, I don't want to spend too much time on this because that's going to be an entirely different video on its own. From what I've seen so far, Reala Ace has a lot of potential. It might become my new favorite film simulation. And what's even more exciting is that it's not going to be limited to the X100VI. There are rumors that Fujifilm, in a firmware update, is going to bring Reala Ace to all of the Fujifilm cameras that use the same sensor and processor as this camera, like the X-H2, X-T5, XS20. That would be the first time that Fujifilm, to my knowledge at least, has put out a new film simulation in a firmware update. So that could be really exciting. A lot of the new features are in the focus system. Now, the camera itself has a whole bunch of new focus improvements, focus speed, focus algorithms, but there are some menu settings that you're not going to find in any other X series cameras. One of those menu settings is the zone custom setting. The zone AF area mode, up to this point, there were 3 sizes, a small, medium, and large square. Well, now you have 3 additional sizes where you can have custom dimensions. So if you go into that zone custom setting, you'll see custom 1 through 3. Go in there, you can use the command dials to change the dimensions of these zones. Say a tall, skinny rectangle if you want to use it for people who are standing, or a skinny rectangle in the horizontal orientation if you want to use it for landscapes or whatever. Whatever your situation is, where you want your own custom focus area with your own custom shape or dimensions, that's what this is for. So as you're scrolling through the sizes using the zone AF area mode, instead of having those 3 options, now you're going to have 6. And that's on top of all of the other, like 6 sizes for the single point and wide tracking. So there's a whole lot of autofocus area modes or sizes now. And that can be a little overwhelming. Not everyone needs 13 autofocus area sizes, which leads me to the second new focus feature in the X100VI, and that's the AF mode all setting. If you're using all for your autofocus mode, which is what I love to do because you can use the command dial to scroll through all of the autofocus areas, all of those sizes, here you can actually disable the sizes that you don't want to see when you're using that command dial to scroll through all of the options. So for example, in AFS, like I said, there are 6 single point sizes available to you, which I think is overkill. You don't need 6 different sizes for that little single point. So what I do is I go through and I disable all but 2. I want to keep the smallest point and the second to largest single point. I'll disable all the rest. For the zone AF area mode, if you don't want to use those custom zone sizes, you can disable all 3 of those custom zones. And then also in AFS, I never use the wide AF area mode, the entire screen. So I disable that also. So now, as I'm using that command dial to scroll through my different AF area modes, I have far fewer to scroll through. I can get to what I want to use much faster because I'm not seeing the ones that I don't use. And then in AFC, for example, continuous autofocus, I never use single point. So I've deselected all of the single point options, so I never have to scroll through those when I'm in continuous autofocus. The next focus feature that's new to this camera that I'm really excited about is the Interlock MF Assist and focus ring. If you use focus peaking or the digital split prism, you know how annoying it is to have that thing overlaid on your screen the entire time. It can interfere with your composition. All of those color outlines or whatever other overlays you use for the MF Assist, they can distract from your composition. So when you turn this feature on, and let's say that you're using the focus peak as your MF Assist, that focus peak overlay is not going to show on your screen when you're not using it. So as soon as you rotate the focus ring to go to focus, then that overlay is going to appear on the screen to help you focus, and then a couple of seconds later, it's going to disappear. So I really love this feature. I turn this on because I don't want to see those MF Assists when I'm not using them. Another setting that I'm not so excited about, but might be helpful to you, is there's now a format menu in the user setting menu. So if you wanted to format a flash unit or even the camera itself, you can save that firmware update file to the SD card and then come into this menu and update that firmware instead of having to do the up, down, left, right, AB, whatever, sequence of, I think all you had to do was press and hold menu while you were turning the camera on to get to the firmware update screen. You don't have to do that kind of secret code anymore. You just come into the menu to update your firmware. And yes, you can update the firmware through the app also, but that only applies to the camera bodies. So in future X series cameras where, say, you want to update firmware for a lens, you're going to have to come into this menu setting where you can do it much easier than you could before. So those are the new features found in the X100V that are first for X series cameras. I'm rather excited about some of them. If you have any questions about how they operate or you want to learn more about them, let me know in the comments. And like I said, you can get 20% off the entire X100VI tutorial course at photocourses.link/X100VI. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe for future updates for more instructional videos like this, and we'll see you on the next one.